Now that we've installed the Burp Suite Community Edition software on Mac, Linux, and Windows, I can present an overview of the software. We'll take a look at the spider, the intruder, the repeater, the encoder, and its extensions. I haven't written a script for this one, so I'll just wing it. So, let's download and install the Web For Pentester Vulnhub virtual machine. Go to Vulnhub. And look for the Web For Pentester machine. That's the second one. There it is. Let's download it. Good. Oh God. Let's try this other mirror. Okay, it works. As you see, it's an ISO, so we'll have to add a new machine. Start VirtualBox. Let's create a new one. Let's call it Web For Pentester 1. Choose the ISO. It's not done yet. Okay, it's finished. There it is. Next. It really doesn't need that much memory, to be honest. Do not add a virtual hard disk, we really don't need it. It's gonna be a live Linux ISO. You're about to create a new virtual machine without a hard disk. Yep, we know what we're doing. Settings, network, set it to bridged if it isn't already, because otherwise it will not be able to communicate with Kali. Then start it. What IP has been assigned to it? It's 111. Yeah, 111. Okay, we can minimize this and then start Kali too. You could also use it on Windows, but I forgot to install the Burp Suite, to set up the Burp Suite also on Kali in the previous video, so we'll do that very quickly in this video. It's actually just like we did with Linux Mint. It's exactly the same. We'll also be using Firefox in this one too. It's Kali. So we start the Burp Suite. Open Firefox. Visit localhost on port 8080. The Burp Suite didn't start. It's moving slowly. Come on. Okay. Visit localhost on port 8080, download the CA certificate, then go on the Firefox settings, look for cert, view the certificates, import the CA certificate that's in the downloads folder. Trust this one and this other one. Trust. Okay. Then go to proxy, Firefox extension. Look it up on the internet, I mean. Okay. The proxy standard. Add to Firefox. Add. Okay. Then create the Burp proxy. Clicking on add. Let's call it Burp 127.001 on port 8080. Color, let's give it a nice orange like always. Select, save, enable it. Okay. Move this to the left, move this to the right. Let's click on proxy, intercept, and then we'll visit the Web For Pentester homepage, which is on, like we said, on 192, 168, 111. And as you see, the Burp proxy has just intercepted the request to the web page. Basically, what the interceptor does, the intercept basically stops the web request so that we can see here all of the elements of the HTTP request that has been just made. Then we click on forward, and there will be other requests, right? So forward, we can also click here and click on forward all, and all of the subsequent requests that are made to the machine will be forwarded. The series of requests will be completed. Now, once we've done this, we don't only have requests to the target website. We also have a list of the responses, which is what will be outputted by the web pages. And you can find all of them, both requests and responses, in the HTTP history tab. So you see here, we had the first request that we did, and this is the response, which is the actual home page. Then we have another one that has likely been done by the website itself, to the example one file equals hacker.png, and the same goes for the other ones. There's this other one on Twitter, which is likely done by this element up here. Now, let's start from the beginning. Target. What is target? Target will be populated with all of the pages that we will visit. Since we don't want other automatic requests to be made towards other websites, like for example, Twitter. Platform here is a subdomain of the Twitter top level domain. We can right click on the IP address that we're interested in or the website that we're interested in, and then add it to scope. As you see, it says here, you have added an item to target scope. Do you want Burp proxy to stop sending out of scope items to the history or other Burp tools? Which is what we want. We don't want other requests to be made to other websites. Answering yes will avoid accumulating project data for out of scope items. Yes. Now we can choose the other ones by holding shift and clicking them, and then right click, and if you added this to the scope mistakenly, you can remove them from scope. But since we haven't added them, we just delete the selected items. Click on yes. And so you see here the entire sitemap that the Burp Suite has done. It basically visited the first homepage, and then it took all of the hyperlinks and visited all of them, so that we will not have to do that by hand or by writing it in a file, for example. So we have all of the requests and responses if these have been actually visited. These haven't, but since this has been visited, we see both the request and the response to the homepage. We click on scope, and we see that we added the correct website. Click on dashboard. Again, this is the live passive crawl. It will crawl the website automatically, so that we will not have to do that by hand, as I've already mentioned. Let's disable the intercept. Okay, so it will load completely. So until now, we've seen the target tab, the proxy tab. For the rest of this video, we'll take a look at the intruder, the repeater, the decoder, and the extensions tabs, because these are the most important tabs that you'll work with for the majority of the time. This is just an introduction to the software. So we click on command injections. We have this one. Let's try to get the entire list of all the users that are on the Debian underlying operating system. swd. This doesn't work. Let's try with only one ampersand. This doesn't work. Let's try with a pipe command. With a pipe character, doesn't work. Now, instead of trying everything here in the address bar, we could go to proxy, intercept the page, and then visit it, and then right click and add it to the repeater, but also to the intruder, because we'll use this later on. We disable the intercept, then click on repeater. We'll remove the payload that we tried inserting earlier. And if we click on send, we'll get the response, the page response. Now here on the bottom right, we can type in root, because we know that the etc/passwd file will return root among all of the users that are on the operating system. So we click on send and we see that it doesn't appear anywhere because the payload isn't working. So we'll try then other things, like, for example, closing the statement, the PHP statement, and then we'll try to exfiltrate the file again. Still nothing. We see that the ping command is being executed, so there's very likely a command execution vulnerability here. Let's try encoding the space. And it works. We've been able to successfully hack the machine, completing this exercise. So if we copy the payload and paste it here, you'd see that it works. Now the intruder instead allows us to repeat many of these payloads automatically. Click on intruder. We just have to define a payload, a place order for where our payloads will be executed. So we say, for example, test, doesn't matter what name you give it. Then add its position. And then we can either load a list of payloads from a file, or we can add them manually. Let's do this manually. Let's say couple ones that we know don't work, and then we'll insert the winning payload there. Let's add them. Now by default it will URL encode characters. Let's not encode them. And then on settings we want to match a specific keyword in the responses after the intruder has finished with each request. We can clear those, yes. And then we want it to flag the root keyword because we know it'll be in the response. And then the last thing that you need to do really is click on Start Attack, and it will try all of them. Since the Burp Suite Community Edition has some limitations, it will execute one attack per second. It's just 3 payloads, so it'll take 3 seconds. And so you see how easy it is. It'll just send these requests and give you the responses. But since we disabled URL encoding, it didn't find it. So you always need to try both the URL decoded and the encoded version for the payloads. This is very important. Let's URL encode those. Start attack. And you see that this time it's actually found too. Well, also the double ampersand would have worked, but since we didn't encode it the first time around, it didn't find it. So you see in the response that it works. The double pipe character actually doesn't work. I wonder if the payload with a single pipe would have worked. Probably. It's just a matter of adding it here. Yes, it works. The payload with a single pipe character would have also worked. Now, where would you find payloads? Now, where can you find payloads to try with the intruder? Well, you just do a search on the internet, like command injection payload list, and you'll find many websites with lots of payloads to try. Nothing beats knowing more about the technology that's behind these vulnerabilities, but it's a start. This isn't it. Command injection. Payload box. We'll see this later. If I don't remove the contents that I recorded earlier. Because it came out harder than I anticipated. And for an introductory video on the Burp Suite, it wasn't really that great. For example, this one. Yeah. You could save this and then load it within the intruder. Now, before wrapping up the video, we've seen, well, what the dashboard does. It's just the home page for the Burp Suite. The target, the sitemap, scope, issues, these are interesting to read, but these will be populated within the Burp Suite only if you have the Pro version via the scanner. It's in the proxy with the HTTP history and what it is. It's in the intruder. There are many other things, but for the moment, this is enough. Repeater. This is advanced stuff that we'll see probably later, but this is only for the professional version of the Burp Suite. This we can avoid. The decoder simply takes strings. It's just a utility from within the Burp Suite that encodes and decodes strings, characters. URL as HTML, encode as base64. Nothing interesting, just a utility. Comparer just compares one request or response to another. It's a very basic utility. Logger has all of the requests and responses that have been done within the Burp Suite software. Organizer, I guess it's just a way to save things, to save requests and responses. Now, the last interesting thing is probably the extensions. There are many extensions that just make it easier to perform certain actions in certain contexts. For example, we have an XSS cheat sheet, scanners, CSRF token tracker. I mean, many of these might become useful in the future, but you first have to learn about all of the attack vectors that exist, because otherwise it doesn't make much sense to go about and test this. For the moment, just download and install and set up the Burp Suite, install the Web For Pentester Vulnhub virtual vulnerable machine, that's a mouthful, and play around with the proxy, the intruder, the repeater, and try completing the exercises that you find on the Web For Pentester 1 machine. Stay tuned, because there will be many more videos coming in the following weeks. We'll take a look at very many cybersecurity concepts and tools, as well as attack techniques. I'm now on Teachable. As for the menu, do you want to learn how to use Metasploit like a pro? Do you want to conduct professional penetration tests? Exploit vulnerabilities manually, like the deserialization ones? Learn Bash and Vim quickly? Join thousands of students already enrolled on the Teachable platform. The link is in the description. Support your incredible career and become number 1337.
Hide the planet! Hide the planet!
Shut up and get in the car!